My name is Rob Crisostomo. I'm from the Philippines, so I live in Manila. I am 32 years old. I'm generally a social entrepreneur, so I work with farming communities and we do different things agri-related. Who would I like to be in 10 years from now? I think I'd still like to be myself 10 years from now, right? I can't think of any other answer. If I had $1 million right now, I'd still invest in the same project that I'm doing, which is basically developing communities in the Philippines, because I hail from the Philippines, and basically linking these communities to better markets and giving them a better awareness and making them more sustainable. Basically, the farming communities in the Philippines are actually very good farming communities. People have some access to education. They're very, how do you say, teachable, but there are a lot of difficulties also, like in very far-flung areas. There's logistical issues. We're an island nation, so sometimes there's an issue from farm to markets. People are not able to reach the markets, right? They're not able to bring produce that they have and they work so hard for to the markets that actually appreciate them. So certain areas in the Philippines have a very large disparity between the value of their products at where they produce it and the value that people are actually willing to pay for it, whether in the Philippines or even other markets. I think the Philippines would be a major player in food security in the future. We're a country which has one of the highest biodiversities in flora and fauna. So if you talk about food security, that would be one major impact that the Philippines would contribute. Another would be in terms of the sector of health. So a lot of medical remedies, herbal remedies are found in areas like the Philippines, Indonesia, where you had a very high diversity of plant. I wouldn't be unjustified if I said that my wife wasn't my main, influencer. She was a person that's basically a geek, very interested in plants. So she was the one that got me involved in environmental issues, climate change, sustainability, and she's the reality that I live in. Basically, my family, my kid. But other influencers, next to family, the Philippines is a very family-oriented country. We have 10 million Filipinos working abroad, living abroad, working independently, and still coming back home, sending their money home. So family is a big thing for the Philippines. So, external to the family, there are some people that inspire us, but I actually find more inspiration in the everyday people that we meet, the people in the street, your maid or the helpers, and finding that commonality between them. I've met some people here in the Slow Food Festival that inspired us. Some people from Brazil, not big names, none of them big names. They was all like everyday people, but their stories were more powerful. Yeah, well, I was very much interested in Terra Madre because of the philosophy behind it. We live in a world that's very fast-paced, and you could get lost in that pace of life. But the beauty of Terra Madre was in its highlighting of the artisanal level, but nothing related to organic, but more about humanity, how we process things, heirloom varietals, history basically, like how our stories and how our traditions have been passed down from generation to generation. And these are not guided by marketing or branding. These are realities that we live. And I think they're a little bit more powerful, because it's basically everyday, how do you say, rituals that we do. Normally people associate the next big thing with technology, and definitely technology has really played a big part in terms of impact, scalability, but I think the next big thing would actually be, the simplification of humanity into going back to the basics. It might be a big cliche, but I think that as resources get more and more saturated, and unless we can move to Mars faster, then the next big thing would be to go back into that very simple formula of saying what makes us live and what will make us happy. So I think it's finding a fundamental similarity on how everyone perceives quality of life to be. Manila is a crazy place, and everyone talks about leaving Manila. It's like you're it's like as a young boy you'd say women are something that you could live without, but you can't also live without. So Manila is it's it's a melting pot, no? It's a combination of people from all around the Philippines and people looking for something, but everything that they're looking for is just always under their nose. So Manila is so I would like to say that Manila is sort of a semblance of the world wherein people have just so happened to be trapped all together in this space and are looking for stories elsewhere, but it's basically just all under their nose. I think our generation has a role to play in the world because of our ability to connect with each other. And I think that's something that, we've been able to do because of technology, but even just our own desire to connect with each other. The millennial generation has always aspired, through social media or even just everyday tellings of their stories. I think we were a generation that looks beyond ourselves and is always looking for people to connect with. And I think that should be the power of our generation. We're in a quaint little shop called Ritual, and I think Ritual is something that symbolizes symbolizes something very powerful for ourselves, for me. It's basically, we call it Ritual because we're a firm believer in producers, and the objective of Ritual was to connect the everyday rituals of ourselves as consumers in our everyday living, from drinking a cup of coffee to taking a bath or waking up in the morning, and sort of connect those everyday rituals with the rituals of the producers, how our farmers produce the rice, how they produce the oils, and connecting their stories so that we could appreciate it as consumers and consume sustainably and give respect to the rituals that we're actually where we get our produce from. I wake up every day because I have simplicity, hope and simplicity of life. You wake up not thinking about what you have to do for greater things. You wake up just because you have to wake up. You wake up to drink coffee. You wake up to see your kid smile at you, and I think that's the more powerful thing. Sometimes we try to think of bigger things, of how we want to change the world, but sometimes changing the world just means changing the little things that you do in your everyday life.